Semen retention, when done right, will lead you to the pinnacle of perfection. This practice will improve your physical health, your financial well-being will skyrocket, your intellect will sharpen, and your ability to charm people becomes unmatched as your wittiness becomes lightning sharp. And most importantly, you stop caring about all these worldly gains as your identification with the body lessens and your awareness of your true self increases. In the advanced phases of this process, supernatural abilities are common to the lucky few who have controlled themselves and made it that far. If you are an experienced retainer, and I know from the comments that a lot of our subscribers are, then I am probably describing you. Congrats. I hope you are enjoying all the wonderful benefits. But unfortunately, most don't make it that far on this path. In order to last in this game, you need to have systems in place that deal with all the surplus energy that you will experience when you begin to retain. Seminal energy is divine, and your being, especially if you are new to this, is likely not well equipped to deal with what will happen when you retain. People that are new to retention are so used to draining that the lethargic state of one who is constantly draining their essence has become the norm for them. And when these people retain for the first week or two, the energy that hits them is almost too much to bear. And as a result, the semen and source of this surplus energy ends up finding a way out. In order to do retention properly and prevent relapse, you need to put systems in place to deal with that surplus energy. Akhanda may motivate you here for a little bit, but you need things that will help you in the future when you are susceptible to slipping. To do retention right, you need two things. You need a plan, and you need tactics that you can use to actively transmute your surplus energy. Without these two things, you are walking in the dark. Most don't have these, and most suffer through their streaks and are doomed to slip. That ends here today for you. Semen retention is a practice that involves consciously avoiding ejaculation to conserve and channel sexual energy. This ancient technique offers a range of physical, mental, and spiritual benefits, including increased vitality, mental clarity, and spiritual growth. By redirecting this potent energy, practitioners enhance their overall well-being and achieve higher states of consciousness. Historically, semen retention has been practiced in various cultures and spiritual traditions, each with its unique approach and underlying philosophy. On this channel, we explore two distinct paths of retention: Taoist retention and Akhanda Brahmacharya. Akhanda Brahmacharya, or God mode as I call it interchangeably, is rooted in the spiritual traditions of India and is the sublimation of all sexual impulses in word, thought, and deed. This involves abstaining from all sexual activity and transmuting all the sexual urges that occur. The term Akhanda is Sanskrit for unbroken or undivided, signifying a commitment to maintaining this practice and harnessing sexual energy for spiritual growth. Practitioners aim to sublimate their sexual desires and transform this energy into higher spiritual consciousness through meditation, self-discipline, and ethical living. This path emphasizes the importance of purity in thought, word, and deed, viewing sexual energy as a powerful force that, when controlled and redirected, can lead to profound inner transformation and even enlightenment. Taoist retention, on the other hand, stems from ancient Chinese Taoist practices and philosophies, offering a holistic approach to semen retention. It focuses on balancing and harmonizing the body's vital energies, known as qi. In Taoist philosophy, ejaculation is viewed as depletion of the body's life force. By retaining semen, practitioners believe that they can preserve and enhance this vital energy. Techniques encompass physical exercises, breathing practices, and meditation to circulate sexual energy throughout the body, promoting health, longevity, and spiritual development. Unlike Brahmacharya, Taoist retention allows for a balanced sex life by providing predefined ejaculation frequency schedules, alchemical transmutation tactics, and the attainment of orgasm without ejaculation, thus allowing sexual encounters between ejaculations within reason. The most significant results and mindfulness are achieved when sublimation is practiced for all sexual urges that arise between sexual encounters. There are three kinds of retainers in this world: those doing God mode, those doing Taoist retention, and then there is a third class of retainer who are misled. The misled retainer has no school of thought, no plan, and they likely have no sublimation tactics, and they simply abstain from ejaculation to torture themselves. They believe falsely that the torture in and of itself will bring them bliss. They believe this because some guy doing a self-help channel posted a video on semen retention because his keyword researcher told him to do so. This got millions of views but provided zero actual information on retention. It encompassed some dude standing there talking about how he did 90 days of retention, which was a complete lie. And then a week later, the same dude posted another video titled, "I stopped retention because retention made pubic hair grow on my forehead." He did this again because his search engine optimization keyword researcher told him to do so. Truth of the matter is that this dude in this hypothetical video didn't ever even do 1 day of retention. So the third category of retainer, the misled retainer, likely saw one of those videos and decided to do a no nut November, quote unquote, and then failed horribly only to look back and reflect that he was suffering the entire time. So now he either blames retention, goes back to fapping and living a miserable existence, or he now searches semen retention relapse and hopefully comes across this very video. If this is you, then this is your lucky day. This is the last video on relapse that you will ever need. You went about it completely wrong. Retention in any school of thought is not about restraint, it is about sublimation, alchemy, and transmutation. So pick a school of thought, start actively sublimating your surplus energies, and now you will rise to the pinnacle of your existence. Those who don't do the above suggestions will likely only suffer. This is because restraint in and of itself leads to suffering. By using our schools of thought, you will nip this in the bud. Everyone going on retention should be asking these questions. How often should I ejaculate? To what end do I practice? And what am I going to do with all the surplus energy? Taoist retention allows for a balanced sex life with tried and tested ejaculation schedules that can ensure your energies are maximized as needed for your growth. And Brahmacharya replaces sexual activity with sublimation, which is blissful. If you are new to God mode, I won't lie, it's painful in the first few weeks to months, depending on your tendencies, but the point is that when you get over that hump, it is the sublimation that makes it blissful. Lack of sublimation and it would be torture, hence the relapses. This is why I always distinguish with my language between celibacy and Brahmacharya. The term celibacy in and of itself does not point to sublimation and spiritual practice. That is not to say that all people on celibacy do not sublimate or engage in spiritual practice, and also those on celibacy who don't sublimate but do devote themselves fully, and I mean fully monk mode style, to karma yoga and their work may attain passive sublimation without even knowing it sometimes, and by luck, they escape the torture. But if you have relapsed, this is likely not the case for you. Either way, let's not get caught up in the semantics. I know some people by chance have done well on celibacy. My point is that if you just make a commitment to not ejaculate or engage in sexual activity and don't have a plan and sublimation tactics in place, then you open yourself up to heavy risk that you will suffer and not see gains. And why do that? Why give up sex if you are not going to do 100% what it takes to succeed on this path? I could never condone that. On top of everything else mentioned on celibacy without sublimation, the suffering and lack of gains presupposes that the practitioner can even last a significant period without sublimation to begin with. I personally can't last more than a month without sublimation. That was how I figured all this stuff out. I wanted to go longer, but my sex drive was so high that I was suffering and losing hope because I kept slipping. After reading Swami Shivananda's Practice of Brahmacharya, I started practicing sublimation as the Swamiji instructs and researching and devising my own tactics. That was when this all began to work for me. And since my first God mode streak, I never fapped and I'm doing Taoist retention for life, hence never breaching my ejaculation schedule or my sex schedule. That was also why I devised the sex schedule that I mentioned in the semen retention dating video. I will link that video at the end, but suffice it to say that after God mode for a significant period, I knew that orgasming without ejaculation too much can also be an issue if you really want to be balanced. I had unlimited options when it comes to women, thanks in huge part to the gains from these practices, and it would have been easy to slip and let that consume me. So I sat and devised a plan that would work for me so as to prevent such a disaster from ever happening. Disclaimer, Akhanda always had good game with women, but the material gains from retention literally skyrocketed me in that regard. Not sure if someone starting from average or zero can get to the same point as quickly, but that is a topic for another channel. For this channel and this video's purpose, just note that retention will skyrocket you in all aspects of your life. You will come to a point where you have so many options with women that even if you don't care for Brahmacharya and are doing Taoist retention and can orgasm without ejaculation, you will need to control and schedule that too, and the time you spend with women, so as to not let that consume you. You will be saying no a lot more to women than you say yes. That is a huge change for most guys these days, because from what I read, the youth are not getting laid as much anymore. But you can, if this is you. You just need to focus on bettering yourself first. That is why I always say that people quitting porn and people who are in a bad position in life, regardless of whether they are into spiritual practice or not, should spend a good 6 months on God mode. Because God mode supercharges you and super speeds the benefits. It also allows for a complete dopamine rewire from pornography. And by the time you come off of God mode, you will be in such a better position and able to figure out more clearly what is next. And on top of that, you will never fap again. You won't need it anymore. Moreover, after a long God mode streak, Taoist retention for life will not even be something you have to try for. It's just a lifestyle that complements and adds to your life. And you will have the sublimation habit, which will extend for life as well. Like I always say, just because Taoist retention allows for an active sex life does not mean that you sit around lusting all the time. When doing Taoist retention properly, you are sublimating all urges that occur between your active encounters. This makes you mindful in all situations and supercharges your benefits even more. And now that I am doing Taoist retention like this seamlessly for life, guess what? Relapse now is just a bad memory for me. And it will be for you as well if you follow my advice. I will link a playlist with sublimation tactics at the end of the video so as to not leave you unequipped with that. And you can research Brahmacharya and Taoist retention. I have 2 playlists on those. Just peel my channel and you will find them. But again, for your plan, if you are a porn addict or in a bad position in life, or really wanting to spiritually super speed things, then I would recommend starting with God mode. If you are in an okay position in life, then Taoist retention may be a good fit. Take that advice for what it is, do your research, and approach this in a competent manner. Don't go at it blind, and don't get caught up on the streak times and beat yourself up. Oftentimes, people get caught up in the time. It becomes almost an obsession. Don't worry about those numbers. Worry about what you do during that period. Because one person may do in 30 days what another person does in 2 years. Time can serve as a guideline, but if you are caught up on it too much, then it merely becomes an attachment, and it will hinder your progress, especially at the more advanced levels of this. More important than the time you have lasted on your streak is that you are practicing correctly. Someone who does 30 days practicing correctly will surely do better in life than someone who does 2 years practicing incorrectly. That 2 years practicing incorrectly is mere torture, while the 30 days practicing correctly is blissful and energetic. So pick a school of thought that is well defined, ensure you have sublimation tactics to deal with the surplus energies, and practice away and enjoy the benefits that float in from the divine. You will feel like a supercharged version of you that you never knew existed. As we conclude this segment, let us bow our heads in reverence. O Divine Creator, we humbly seek your guidance and grace on this path of self-discovery and transformation. Grant us the strength to persevere, the wisdom to discern, and the courage to overcome challenges. May we walk in the light of truth and integrity, embodying the virtues of discipline, resilience, and compassion. Protect us from temptation and doubt, and lead us towards the fulfillment of our highest potential. With hearts filled with gratitude, we offer our sincerest prayers for continued strength and steadfastness. Amen. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all the bells and whistles if you're into my content. I'll see you next time.